how I love sports.
Sports.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Hey, everybody. Good evening and welcome to the Sports Page here on SuperTalk, Mississippi. Hope you and yours are doing just right on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. A number of our folks, of course, our kids were out of school today, but a number of us are working and serving and doing a number of things today. So hope you and yours are doing just right on a day that's being celebrated all around the country. To everyone who's listening to us on 99.3, that's Laurel and north of Laurel, thanks for listening. On SuperTalk, Laurel.com. Thank you to everyone who's listening to us on SuperTalk, Hattiesburg.com, 97.3. That's all the way to the northern part of Stone County, east to west on the other side of Waynesboro, on 99.3 west on the other side of Columbia, on 97.3, and a little bit, I guess, 99.3. So hope that you and yours are doing just right. Want to, first of all, thank all the area head football coaches from 10 area counties that came today to the university for our annual FCA Coaches Luncheon that we have on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And it's an opportunity not only to encourage the people who move a child, encourage a child who looks after a child on a campus environment every day, but also to eat a really great meal and fellowship. And we had a great time. I want to thank Coach Blake Anderson, our new Southern Miss head football coach, his entire staff, specifically Coach Barney Farrer and Coach Stringer, Coach Reed Stringer, for all their hospitality, for helping to make this happen. And, man, we had a blast today. And made some new relationships, got to hug on some older relationships, and then talk about some FCA things coming up during the year, and listen to some words from Dr. King, which we'll hear a little bit later on today. But I want to thank everybody who came, and there's all kind of different celebrations and programs going on in the last 24, 48 hours in the community. But want to thank all those area head football coaches who came for the second straight year for that time that we get a chance just to really just say thank you for them serving on a day that's really kind of set aside for service. So also today, y'all, it's the beginning of the week for a number of things, and it's baseball time soon. And the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, y'all, the baseball team is ranked 20th in the country by D1 Baseball. And the head baseball coach, Christian Ostrander, we've known him since he was coaching at Gulfport High School and winning championships at Jones, and then became an assistant. Boy, he's just a fine man. Now our head baseball coach at Southern Miss and ranked 20th in the preseason. He had his opening news conference today, and let's listen to a few things that Coach said today about his baseball team as they begin the season, y'all, in just a few days.
Well, exciting to be here. We're 3 weeks away, 25 days away, I think, from cranking up. Actually got the boys back last week, started on the field last Tuesday, and really like where they're at. They came back refreshed, energized, look like they're right where they need to be. So now it's all about just getting reps and getting ready for February 13th, and hoping for good weather and while we do that. So very excited about the next couple weeks. Questions?
Speak a little bit about, as you guys came out of the fall, a lot of things look settled, and except maybe your middle infield and maybe center field had some question marks. Really still got some competition going on there. Can you speak to that a little bit about settling your middle out?
Yeah, I think there's still good competition going on in the middle. You got Ty Long and Seth Smith at shortstop that really competed well, in the fall. And even you look at the second base factor with Kyle Morrison and Braden Moranto, a true freshman. You got a senior transfer, and then you got a freshman that's nipping at his heels, and so forth. So good competition going on there, and there's interchangeable parts, too, that a Long or Smith could move over to the right side of the field if you need it, or vice versa. So there's a lot of I think flexibility there. I think the pieces are there. Now it's going to come down to who kind of grabs that thing in these next 3 weeks from truthfully, probably an offensive standpoint. Which one shows you that their bat has to be in that lineup. I love defense. I'm a pitching defense guy, but at the end of the day, too, it's kind of separate because I think they're all capable from the defensive standpoint. Just some might be a little different point offensively. As for center field, I wish I could stand up here and say we had another unicorn that's going to go out there and play it, and I think we're going to be just fine. I think we're going to be normal, with that. But I think there's great competition. Caleb Stelly, a guy that you haven't seen this past fall, he had an injury that he had to get fixed up, and he looks great, man. He stayed here all break and trained with Coach Back, worked with our coaches and stuff, and he's got familiarity with center field, as does Joey Irvin, as does others that could possibly play it. And so, it's going to be fun watching that competition unfold as we go.
Coach, with Wade Tucker Stockman playing towards the last half of the year, Ross Odom getting another year, and people that you sign, you anticipate being stronger and have more depth at catcher?
I think we're in a great spot. I mean, when you have two guys that at any point that I would feel comfortable saying, hey, you got it. That's a luxury. There's been times here we really didn't have that, where it was an obvious number one, and then number two, like, whatever. But I feel great about it. It's great competition. Those two guys love each other, and they push each other, and they both want to catch every game. And, but obviously there will most likely be, it's not going to be an even split. Somebody's probably going to, end up being the guy that catches a little bit more. And 2 years ago it was Odom. Last year was Stockman. What happens year three, I think competition is a beautiful thing. So I feel very good about where we're at that position.
It seems like you have a problem a lot of coaches would like to have. You have a lot of talent on your team, and you have more talent than you have starting players, I think it's fair to say.
I think that's the mark of a good team.
Correct.
I think, you got to have that. That was a message I've shared with these guys, this week. The narrative we're trying to kind of pound home to them is, unity, accepting roles, the brotherhood, the competitiveness against one another. But at the end of it all, if you're not that guy out there, you're his biggest fan and stuff. So because good teams have that. Good teams have multiple guys that are sitting on that bench that could arguably go start. So, yes, that's a great luxury to have, and that's what you want. And I think we certainly have some of that this year.
Is it difficult to get kids to buy into that you may have a role on the team other than being a starter?
That's our job. To me, you're managing people and stuff. And as a pitching coach all my career, that was one of the biggest challenges managing the pitching staff is keeping guys engaged, keeping them ready, keeping them mentally ready, physically ready, and stuff. So now you look at it as a whole unit, and stuff, whether it's a pitcher or a position player. That's our job, communication with them and getting them to understand, tough love, talking about it and being honest and stuff. So we'll have those conversations will happen. There's no doubt. There's going to be disappointment by some guys when the first lineup's up there, and you go get a week into it, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Does that attitude change? Or are you a true team guy even though you're not in that lineup and stuff? So that's something we talk about a whole lot here. I'm very sensitive to it, and I think that's real important because that chemistry, that unity, that bond is so powerful.
Coach Christian Ostrander talking about his baseball team in 2026. Man, they should be good. They're ranked 20th in the country. Some other different items. Know that the William Carey Lady Crusaders are 16-0, 7-0, still perfect on the season. They've won 55 straight regular season games. More on that on Crusader Talk at the top of the hour on 97.3. As far as basketball, the Southern Miss basketball team lost twice on the road. They're 11-9 and 5-3. Will continue on the road this week as they visit Georgia State and Coastal Carolina. The Lady Eagles are 11-7, and they'll entertain both Marshall and Coastal Carolina this week. Some other things of note. Know that baseball season, as we were hearing from Coach Ostrander, the Eagles will open their season at home during the Valentine's Day weekend. That's Friday, February 13th, and then they'll have they'll host that weekend. So know that baseball, y'all, is right on. It's about, he said, 25 days away. My goodness gracious, in the beginning of baseball season, and hopefully this cold weather that we've had a little bit of this snap, maybe a little kind of warm up a little bit, but I ain't counting on it. The national championship game is tonight between Indiana and Miami. Of course, y'all know the offensive coordinator from Miami is one Shannon Dawson, and Coach Shannon was the offensive coordinator at the university for 3 years. And now he, of course, last year he helped develop Cam Ward, who won the Heisman Trophy, who is now with the Tennessee Titans. And now he gets the call for the national championship game. So it should start around 6:50, thereabouts. If you're watching a game where you can see two teams trying to win something that they haven't done, Indiana is a crazy story, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah. We'll come back. We'll talk to Sean Wansley and catch up what's going on with Jones and the community college circuit. The sports page continues here on Super Talk in just a moment.
This is The Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 Super Talk, Mississippi.
It is a close team, and I've witnessed quite a bit of sentimentalism throughout the week from some of our seniors who we've been with quite a long time. I think it's time to sharpen the saw now, throw those warm fuzzies out the door, that sentimentalism. It's time to go play a game against a great opponent. We got to have a sharp edge going into this game. And, you don't go to war with warm milk and cookies.
My goodness. That's the head coach for the Indiana Hoosiers. Yes, the Indiana Hoosiers, the number one team in America. Y'all playing for the national championship against Miami. Miami, when you say Miami playing for a national championship, that's not strange. But when you're talking about Indiana and it's not basketball, it's been a great narrative. And my goodness, Coach Cignetti spent some time at Alabama, and they look like one of the old-fashioned Alabama teams when you look at them on film. So it's going to be a great game, guys. It'll kick off in just about 20 minutes or so. Hope you and yours are doing really well on this MLK holiday as we roll through and get ready for a busy week. School is in for a lot of folks, and in fact, even though it was a holiday, I know a lot of folks were on the collegiate level were getting their kids in today, getting ready for the semester, or it was the second week of the semester. So, speaking of that, let's talk to the sports information director at Jones College, our good friend Sean Wansley. Hello, Sean. How you doing?
Hey, Mitch, how are you doing today?
I'm really doing well. We were talking about you today. we had a luncheon today with these coaches, and we had some guys you might know. Coach Neil Lyon, who he was there, and we had Coach Todd Breland.
Right.
He was there. And we were talking about all the good old days. I mean, just the good old days. Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Time
That's very well.
just flies. Hey, tell us what's going on at Jones. I know that it being the holiday, but, I mean, you're just a few weeks from baseball. Basketball is full throttle. Give us an update.
Yeah, let's before we get to the sports on the fields and then the courts, we got to mention our Jones College cheerleading team. They were at Disney World, Orlando over the weekend. I guess you'd call it the ESPN Worldwide Complex of Sports, and they won their fourth national championship in 6 years on the Open Co-ed division. Those young people, they practice during Thanksgiving week when everybody else is off, and they're up here during Christmas when everybody else is off. So it's a big deal. Their fourth national title in 6 years. Congratulations to Coach Kate Ewing. She's the coach of the team. She's a West Jones girl, and she is married to Reese Ewing.
Yeah.
Southern Miss baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
Yeah, and Reese is now an assistant coach at Jones. So
Shut up.
a lot of good stuff
Wow.
going on
Wow.
right there.
Wow. Wow.
But get into basketball real quick. Our men's team, Newton Miller's team, they had a really good week last week. They had two big conference wins over Hines, 100-94, and Gulf Coast, 81-75 down at Perk. And Hines and Gulf Coast, they're two really good teams. In fact, Gulf Coast had beaten us in December at our place, so that was two good conference wins right there. Our team is 13-5. 4 of the 5 losses are to nationally ranked teams out of Florida. So Coach Miller's team doing quite well. On the women's side, Coach Trista McGee-Whitman and the Bobcats went 1-1 last week. They had a big 96-65 win over Hines, and then we lost down at Gulf Coast 63-49. So they are 12-3 overall, 1-1 in conference play. And this week, of course, we're off to this evening because of the MLK holiday. But tomorrow night, Jones will be hosting East Central at 5:30 on the women's side, and the men's game will start approximately 7:30. And on Thursday, the Bobcats make the long trip up to Moorhead and play Mississippi Delta. So basketball doing quite well, and that's kind of the way it's going to be. 2 conference games a week for the next 6 weeks, and we'll see where we stand after that.
Y'all are listening to Sean Wansley, Sports Information Director at Jones College, and we're talking hoops, which is in season, of course, from the end of the semester to now the beginning of this semester. But also when the spring comes, not only the early spring, not only comes the inclement temperature, so to speak, it's a little colder, but it is also the start of baseball and softball season. So get everybody an update because that is getting ready to start pretty quick, isn't it?
Absolutely. Both baseball and softball have been on campus practicing when they can. We had a lot of rain here last week on campus like everybody else did across the state, but those teams are out practicing, getting ready. In fact, baseball will open regular season play next week, January the 28th, when they go to Bruton, Alabama, and play Coastal Alabama North in their season opening doubleheader. The first home doubleheader for Coach Wes Thigpen's team will be on February the 2nd. That's a Monday when they host East Central at 2 and 5. Coach Thigpen, optimistic again about this year's team. Jones has been very solid in baseball over the last several years. On the softball side, the same thing. Coach Tori Dew and her team, again, they're going to be highly regarded once again this year. They open the season on February the 2nd at home against Bishop State at 1 and 3 o'clock that day, and they go to Panama City Beach, Florida, February the 6th and 7th for a tournament. So February the 2nd, I can tell you, is going to be an exceptionally busy day. We've got baseball and softball playing pretty much at the same time, and then basketball will play that evening. So a whole bunch of stuff on February the 2nd going on at Jones College. A couple other spring sports. The tennis teams of Coach Brooks Buffington, they are scheduled to play Saturday at Mississippi College, and, of course, that's weather permitting based on what we're seeing on some of the outlooks right now for this weekend. But Coach Buffington and the Bobcats will be at home for their first home match on January the 29th against Bevel State out of Alabama. And the Bobcat tennis team will also play a scrimmage on January the 28th in Hattiesburg against William Carey University. So a lot of things going on right there. And on the golf front, Coach Bob Harrington and the Bobcats will get rolling with the spring part of their schedule February the 9th and 10th down at Diamond Head Country Club on the coast. So spring sports, it's all going to be happening pretty much at the same time once we get to the month of February. We'll pretty much have baseball, softball, tennis, golf just about every day, it seems, for about 6 or 8 weeks. So
how do you keep up with all that, Sean? I mean, how do you do that? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't. All what you said is so good, but I'm like, man, it's like how to keep up with that. It's like, I don't know. That's crazy.
You got to do your best and hope that you got folks on each team that can help you out and do what we can. And hopefully get the scores and results out as fast as we can on social media and let people know how we're doing.
My goodness, wow. You have all of that. So I think, didn't you mention last time there was football tryouts? Or has that happened? That happened already?
That's coming up February the 11th. Coach Latrell Pollard will be having spring walk-on tryouts at Bobcat Stadium, Sim Cooley Field. Registration will be 12:30 to 1, and the tryout will start right after that. You have to have an up-to-date physical and a $20 cash-only registration fee that day when you show up to Bobcat Stadium. And folks can contact via email Matt Light or Slade Buckley for more information about how to be involved with these spring tryouts. And you can go to our football page on our website to see how you can get involved with football spring walk-on tryouts. And, of course, on the recruiting front, I believe that first Wednesday in February is signing day, and Coach Pollard and the staff out working very, very hard trying to get young men to come play football for us next year, because you know as well as I do, August will be here right before you know it.
Show you right. 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 How can everybody keep up with what's going on at Jones? And, in any little tidbit, we got about a minute left.
Okay. Our main site is jcbobcats.com. Stories, schedules, rosters, scores, all kinds of background information available at jcbobcats.com. You can read about our cheerleading success there right now if you need to. Of course, jcbobcats.com/watch is where you can follow the Bobcats on broadcast. In fact, you can watch the Jones East Central basketball games tomorrow night at that site. And you can go to X, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and search Jones College Athletics to keep up to date with Bobcat sports.
My goodness. Sean, thank you so much. Hope to talk to you same time, same place next week, okay?
All right, Mitch, I appreciate it, man.
Sean Wansley, the Sports Information Director at Jones College. I want to also thank all the athletic directors for the Mississippi High School Activities Association and the Mississippi Athletic Administrators Association for having us this past week for their conference. We had a ball. That was last week. It was great. All right, when we come back, we'll talk to Coach Chris Oning, y'all, one of the best basketball coaches in the country. He's at Pearl River. We'll have more of the sports page in just a moment.
This is The Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 Super Talk, Mississippi.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Sports Page on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Hope you had an awesome day, maybe a day that you served today. Maybe it's a day that you worked today, but hopefully you'll remember really this day as a day that we kind of sit back and be thankful for a lot of things because of the life of a Baptist preacher. Yeah, we'll hear some more from Dr. King in just a little bit. Hope everybody's doing good, y'all, and also everybody cover up tonight. We're going to be in the 20s in some patches down here in southeast Mississippi, y'all. We have been on this day, y'all. We're so excited. We're going to get to talk to one of the premier basketball coaches, not only in Mississippi, but we believe around the country. And he just celebrated his 200th win at Pearl River Community College with 7 titles, which is crazy. 16 consecutive conference opening wins, which is crazy. 14 straight over East Central. They played East Central and y'all on the 12th, and they beat them 14 straight in this league. And y'all, if you ain't coached over there in the Community College League here in Mississippi, you don't beat nobody 14 straight. So, y'all, Coach Chris Oney's with us. Hello, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. Right off the few more for me.
Well, man, it's so good to talk with you. I want to just ask you about, typical you. I mean, you ain't going to pat yourself on the back, but, Coach, 200 wins is in this league? It's something. Talk a little bit about that and that plateau and just a career of just life-changing kids, but also winning basketball games.
Well, I tell you, what I've told everybody, I probably would have got to 200 quick if we had better officials in our league. I said that, but they wouldn't print it, so I guess I'd say it. If we had better officiate, I probably got there a lot quicker. But no, it's something I'm obviously, in the night, that I guess the other night it happened, and people don't believe me when I say I don't even keep up with it, to be honest. And, the guys congratulated me, went to dashing me with water and stuff, and it still hadn't really set in yet, because I'm still that guy that young kid that was just hoping not to get fired, after the first year or whatever. Wow. And now we look at, 9, 10 years later and, through COVID, through injuries and all that, we kind of got there. So, hopefully I can win another 200-300 more.
Well, I tell you what, I'm hoping it come quicker if them officials act right.
Absolutely.
So you're in after now 17 games this year, Coach. I mean, now and being undefeated in the MAC. What do you know about your basketball team? I mean, and because I was seeing a little narrative about the last 2 games, and seemingly so, your kids are kind of getting it, and you're seeing some results or maybe some fruit of some of the work that y'all been putting in. Tell me a little bit about what you know about your team after 17 games.
Well, I tell you, this has probably been the toughest non-conference schedule that I've ever played. With hints, we got I think 6 or 7 losses, but about 4 of those are teams that's ranked top 10 in the country or whatever it seemed like, and we were in all of those games or whatever. So that's why I was always encouraged. When we went back and I watched the film, it would be like a 5-6 minute spurt, during the game, to where we were just making, plays that you can't make to beat really good teams.
Yeah.
And it was missing free throws, things that we could control. It was never an effort standpoint. And then myself, I had to play a few more guys and, get them playing, the right way that needed to be on the floor for us, more. And it was just right when we got almost left for Christmas, I can see it kind of turning. I can see us starting to play the way that we need to play, to be successful down the stretch.
What is that you want to see, and because, now we're into this new semester, Coach. This is really when y'all kind of do what you do, because y'all play a lot of tough non-conference folks every year, and now here comes the stuff, as y'all head toward March. What do you want? What's the kind of play you want to see as you kind of go down?
It's crazy because even in your profession, it's hard to explain things that like when you see things like, okay, that's what I'm looking for, and explain it. It's just it's just kind of a feel. You just kind of get a feel for the guys. Throughout the year, and then you obviously you got to play hard and be disciplined. And do some of the things that we preach, on a day-to-day basis. You want to see those things, start to happen or stop happening, if it's hurting the team, but it's kind of a feel, it's so meticulous, it could be a bad play design that we have, or it could be, playing a guy, in the wrong position, or it could be playing too fast, it could be playing, this year, I got something I've never had. I got a big kid about 6'9", I say 285, but he say he's down to 266. That's what he say, he's 260, but I still think he's 280. But that's the first time I've had a guy. I can't tell you on the air what I really call him every day.
Yes, sir.
But this is the first time I've had a guy like that. So we've had to adjust the way we play on defense. We've had to adjust, when we run and when we slow it down to get him involved or whatever, which, it's been fun. It's been frustrating, but it's been fun. And now we're getting to the point, that where we're all kind of figuring it out, ball coverage schemes and all that kind of transition, schemes or whatever with him on the floor. And then what's been amazing about this team to see when he comes off the floor, how we go back to playing a different kind of style, on defense. So I think that's been fun to watch, and hopefully we can kind of keep it up.
Y'all are listening to Coach Chris Oney, the head basketball coach of the Pearl River Wildcats, and they're getting ready and heading into really the spring semester. Winners of 200 games, y'all. It's such, to me, still a young career and 7 titles. So, Coach, I want to ask you this. You remember we used to talk a couple of years ago. We were talking about, y'all are, beating up people. and then playing not so much with a number on your back, but an X. And now you live in that way where you're getting everybody's best game every game. And not to say they didn't before. I'm just saying now because you got the hardware, it's even more so. How have you coped with that? I mean, knowing that they're coming.
Right. I very rarely live in the moment, but it's been, it's kind of cool to hear from other coaches that, man, you the standard, standard, all this kind of stuff, which it was kind of cool to hear or whatever, but we just kind of stick to, the things we believe in, playing together, being disciplined, on the floor, appreciating, the opportunities, to be out there on that floor, Pearl River, playing for Pearl River and all that kind of stuff. We kind of just stick to that. And when you stick to those kind of, mottos or whatever, then, all the other stuff just kind of go away. We played against Mississippi Delta, the other night, and they had a kid that hadn't scored a basket all year, and I said, well, you can best believe he's going to be ready. He's going to score a basket. He had 6 points. I mean, he was burning up and down the floor, bouncing, before that. We watched on film, he would barely get down the floor, but he was ready to play. Or whatever. There was a kid, obviously, I think wanted to be here, and we ended up going in a different direction.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of that. Which makes us always ready, for the end of the year because, we're not seeing anything new from teams. We're seeing, teams are playing championship games. There's something that we talk about when we get to conference. A lot of coaches and programs, they wait for the championship game to call it a championship game. We call every conference game a championship game. So we've won 2 championship games, and we got another one tomorrow when we got East Mississippi coming to town.
Coach Oni, this is the MLK holiday, and it's very clear you're very successful at what you do. But years and years and years and years ago, we were talking about that at a luncheon today we had with area head football coaches. Is that sometimes those opportunities, sometimes years ago they were not available for maybe a young, vibrant coach like you that it was ready. Talk a little bit, if you can, about the influence of Dr. King as it relates to being a lead dog in leading young men, but also to being visible in this society.
Well, it's something that I truly would never take for granted. The opportunity. I was the first minority head coach ever hired at Pearl River, and it's something that that I always remember. And it's something that I always talk about. Me for myself, for my kids. I think it starts at home. Me and my wife, we packed our kids up and we went to Memphis, I think last year, the year before last, and went visited, Martin Luther King Civil Rights Museum. We went to Atlanta, went visit the Civil Rights Museum and all that kind of stuff. It's something that I think, that you should always be aware of. Now I don't think you should walk around, mad at the world, because
absolutely
I do think
right.
It's something that you should always be aware of. That because whenever people before you make any type of sacrifice, whether you red, blue, green, or yellow, I think it should be appreciated. And that's kind of the way that I've always, lived my life, and that's kind of parent that I've always been with my kids. And as a leader at Pearl River, the men's basketball, on that campus, that's something that I always try to remind our guys. Even with your parents, like the people that made sacrifices for you to be where you are and give you the opportunity to become what it is you're trying to become. I think you should always show homage to those people, and I think you should always respect the journey that they had for you to get there.
Without question, there is nothing like if you've ever been, like you just said, going to the Lorraine Motel. And then going to Atlanta, or either for us went to Montgomery to the church there and seeing all of these things. And man, I start remembering my granddaddy and all these folk that really made it way. So now,
well, my dad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but my dad, he tells stories about how, he was a civil rights, person. And we got a joke in the house, and I said, well, you must have been snitching because all the famous ones got assassinated. Why you see him, boy? He killed himself laughing. He killed himself laughing when I said that.
Yeah.
But even him, my auntie, she was the first minority queen at Tallulah High School, and believe it or not, my dad had a lot to do with that. My mom was on the National Honor Society. He kind of organized, sit-ins and walkouts, back, because he came along when they started segregating schools, Thomastown, Tallulah High, so I heard all those stories growing up, and And to me, they weren't just old fishing tales. To me, it was something I always took pride in.
Yeah.
And I always try to remember that, for us to be able to try to become what we try to become, people made unbelievable sacrifices. And Martin Luther King ultimately made the ultimate sacrifice by, losing his life. All right.
Well, Coach, thank you so much, man. Hopefully, I'm going to talk to you again before you get your 300 win, I'm sure. I'm going to talk to them officials. I'm going to tell them.
Tell them we can get the 300. We can do this celebration quicker if they're quick making bad calls or whatever.
All right. Well, blessings to you, my friend, and I will.
Yes,
I'll talk to you later. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, and go Wildcats.
All right, Coach Chris Oney, y'all, the head basketball coach at Pearl River. Giving not only a reflection of today, but y'all seen the heart of that coach. You can see why he wins. When we come back, we'll cross the T and dot the I and get ready for Crusader Talk at the top of the hour. We'll be back.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 Super Talk, Mississippi.
All right, welcome back to Super Talk, Mississippi. I want to thank Coach Chris Oney for being with us. I want to thank Sean Wansley from Jones for being with us on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. We'll play a little excerpt in just a second. I want to tell everybody who came. We had area head football coaches, y'all, from 10 counties. About 30 up to 32 of them in today at the university. We had our second annual FCA Coaches Luncheon, always during the MLK holiday for our area head football coaches. Why? To encourage them. My goodness, a lot of them are athletic directors, but also to talk about some things coming up in FCA. But for the most part, just to encourage them and just really challenge them to really don't give up, no matter what the circumstances are. And y'all, we played a clip today from a sermon from Martin Luther King Jr. in 1967 from Ebenezer Baptist Church and in November of that year. Yeah, so he was like 10, 11 months before he was assassinated. And he was talking from the book of Daniel chapter 3, verses 16 and 7, about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego having not an if faith, but a though faith, where those three Hebrew boys said, well, King, no matter whatever your image of gold, we ain't bowing down or not. You can throw us in the furnace or what. And it wasn't an if faith, it was a thou faith. And he talked a little bit about that. But as it related to the coach, there were some things in that he talked about. So we want to play a little excerpt of that on our way out as we get ready for Crusader Talk on the top of the hour. This is from 1967, a sermon from Martin Luther King Jr. When he talked about but if not. This is the name of the sermon.
This says in substance that ultimately religion is not a bargaining matter. A lot of people bargain with God. If you just let me avoid pain, God. If you allow me to be happy in all of its dimensions, if you don't allow any suffering to come, if you don't allow frustrating moments to come, then I'll be all right. I'll give you 1/10 of my income, and I'll go to church, and I'll have faith in you. But religion is not a bargaining experience. It's not a commercial relationship. And no great experience exists in the bargaining atmosphere. Think of friendship. Think of love. And think of marriage. These things are not based on if. They're based on though. And these great experiences are not based on a bargaining relationship, not an if faith, but of though faith. And I'm coming to my conclusion now. I want to say to you this morning, my friends, that somewhere along the way, you should discover something that's so dear, so precious to you, that is so eternally worthful, that you will never give it up.
Wow. My goodness, that's something that's eternally worthful. That's a term we use today. And you heard all of it, that one is if God calls you to something that you can't bargain with him, he's not going to change his mind. And that relates to the coach. It reflects to the leader too. If he calls you to it, to whatever role or responsibility to you, you can't bargain with him. It is what it is. And the second thing is not to give up, that you love something so much that it's eternally worthful to you. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out, that you don't give up. And then the last one is the last part where we didn't play is that there's a right to love, that you have the right to love. If God loved you so much to give his own son, you have the right to love people. Even if they don't agree, maybe they don't look like you, maybe they don't walk like you, maybe they're not in your circles. Maybe there's someone that you don't identify with, but maybe they're in your family, and it's difficult to do it. Maybe it's someone that you work with, but you have the right to love, because the God of heaven, y'all, gives us this opportunity to not only be an ambassador for him, but also to also reach out and connect like he would, like Jesus did with the woman at the well, like Jesus did with the woman that was caught in adultery, like Jesus did with the fisherman named Peter who was caught up. To everyone that he met, yeah, he may not have identified how they lived or what they thought about, but it did not change how he loved people. You can't bargain with the Lord if you're a leader. If you got some responsibility, don't bargain with him. He got you. Don't give up. Never give up. And then 2, you have the right to love. All right. On this MLK Day, we hope you and yours are doing really, really well. Crusader Talk is at the top of the hour on 97.3. Can't wait to hear Caleb and Joshua talk about what's going on at Cary. A whole lot of good stuff. We hope to talk to every one of you. Same time, same place next week. Take care, everybody. God bless.